In this program, we want to take a look at the process of downloading and installing fonts in your operating system for use by design programs installed on your computer. So here I am back in Photoshop. The word text is located down here at the bottom. And using my character panel in Photoshop, I can choose to change the font style of the word text from a long list of available fonts that are installed on my computer. For example, I can go to Playbill, and immediately we can see the change of applying that font style to this layer of text in my Photoshop window. And I have many fonts here that are available to me. This one's called Santa Fe. What happens when you're looking for a specific style of font that's not available on your system? Well, for that you can go to any number of different places, many of them on the web, to look and peruse fonts that others have created, download those fonts and install those on your computer. Many of these fonts are free. Many of them have to be paid for. They're produced by commercial font foundries, and they're in a business, and so very often they're going to charge you for the fonts that you download. The ones that are more carefully designed and better executed typically are going to be the ones that you're going to pay more for. So for this tutorial, we're going to open up Safari, and we're going to visit urbanfonts.com, and this site is referenced in Chapter 9 of your text. On UrbanFont's website, I have a couple of choices right at the top. The one that I'm interested in right now is this link called Free Fonts. So if I select that link, this will take me to a search engine and a browsing window that will allow me to look at a number of different fonts. Now, where do these fonts come from? Well, these are simply fonts that are designed by people who have expertise in the creation of fonts for distribution to folks for all number of different reasons. Some of these people are in this to make money, and they will upload their fonts to a site like urbanfonts.com and encourage users of those fonts to pay a minimal fee for their use. They might even release it into the public domain and allow you to use it for free. Those types of fonts are typically referred to as freeware. There's no strings attached. You can download the font, you can use it for educational, commercial purposes. It doesn't really matter. The developer of the font has given you permission to use it however you want. Other fonts might be distributed by someone who is at least wanting minimal compensation, and they might upload it as shareware. And shareware is sort of an honor system. You download the font, and the font may have a free period of use, say 30 days, 15 days, where you can use it as a trial font on your system without having to pay a fee. Or it might allow you to download it and use it, and then to pay a fee if perhaps you decide to use it one day in a commercial project. And then the commercial fonts obviously are going to be ones that you purchase, you pay a fee, and once you download them to your computer, they're going to be free for you to use. So it pays to be familiar with the different types of licensing arrangements for these services. Don't just go online and assume that because you can download a font to your local computer that you actually have the legal permission of the font creator to use those in works that you create. Alright, so here we are on the site, and I'm just going to very quickly navigate to a font style that I want to download. I'm going to take this font called A Safe Place to Fall and click on the actual font. When I go to the next page, I'm presented with the lowercase and the uppercase versions and even some of the symbols so that I can evaluate this font, make a determination as to whether or not this is going to meet my needs, and if I'm happy with it, I can go ahead and download it. I can usually also, if I navigate through this site, find information in regard to any licensing stipulations that might be attached to it. So in this particular case, I'm going to simply choose download, and it's going to place this font in my downloads folder. I'm going to navigate to my Finder, to my download menu, and there's the font folder that I just downloaded. It came down as a zipped folder, and there's two files in it, and one of the files has a .ttf extension, which stands for True Type Font. Now if I double click on that file, it will open up FontBook, which is a font management utility that comes with Mac OS X. If you're working on a PC, there's going to be a similar program within the Windows operating system for you to do the same thing. The Windows and Apple folks have done a pretty good job at making the installation of fonts fairly simple and fairly direct. In this particular case, I'm presented with a window that shows me a small representation of how this font will look on screen, and in the lower right hand corner I have the option to install the font, which I'm going to do. The font has now been installed. It's asking me to validate the font, and I'm going to come down here and choose Select All Fonts and choose Install Checked. And that font is now added into my font collection with all of the other fonts on my system. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is that I've already launched Photoshop. So Photoshop is currently active. In order for this font to appear in the list, I'm going to have to exit Photoshop and then relaunch the program in order to refresh my font list in my character panel. So I'll do that very quickly. We'll quick Photoshop. We'll save our work. I'll come back down to my dock, reopen Photoshop. And I'll choose my text layer. I'll go back to my font style list, choose the letter A to get to the top of the list, and there's my font, A Safe Place to Fall, now in the list of my available fonts within Photoshop. If I were to go to any other Adobe product or Microsoft Word, this font will be available to me in any program installed on my computer. Alright, so I'll choose A Safe Place to Fall, and there's my text styled with the font that I identified and downloaded using urbanfonts.com.